Hello and welcome to 21st Century, a complete guide to football in the 21st century. My name is Will Brazier and today we are celebrating the football career of Wayne Rooney the First. Joining me as ever, Statman to the Dave. How are you?
Excellent.
Red agenda today, full
bang,
yeah?
Top goal scorer in the history of the club. Let's go.
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
That's the stats for you. That's why we got him in. Nieve, how are you?
Oh, I'm no longer looking forward to it after hearing what Dave just said.
I think what we've got to do is work as a team here because we've got to show the other side of the argument. We like Rooney, we want to celebrate him, but we don't want to be blinded by the lights. Dave, we're starting with the Wikipedia page, and you've got the first headline, haven't you, my friend?
Wayne Mark Rooney was born the 24th of October 1985 and is an English football manager and former player who currently manages Championship club Derby County.
Rooney scored 253 goals for United in all competitions to make him their top goal scorer of all time, with 183 Premier League goals being the most scored by a player for any single club.
Good.
But also 16 trophies, Will. You wanted to know that one, didn't you?
When I say you can speak, okay? Don't jump in when we've not even finished the Wikipedia page. You've been here long enough to know that, haven't you? Hey?
No.
Naughty. Rooney became the first Premier League footballer to reach 10 million followers on social network site Twitter. I don't know if you heard of it, guys. You can sort of tweet your thoughts and tell everyone what you're thinking, but nobody really cares.
Like Rio want picking up in the morning, mate.
Let me read them, Dave! It's a script. You can see it yourself. Yes, like Rooney. Rio, do you want picking up in the morning? Whitney has passed away. R.I.P. You will live on forever. Can't believe it. I want to run to you. Really can't believe this. Now, that is actually on his Twitter page, Nieve.
I love that.
Yeah?
I really love that. As a massive Whitney Houston fan, so much respect for both of them. And it's good. It's about stripping down the footballer and really getting to know, not Rooney, but Wayne.
Yeah, and speaking of Wayne, I think this one really sums him up perfectly. Speaking to, I think, a small child at the time, he said, "I'll put you asleep within 10 seconds, you little girl. Don't say stuff and not follow up on it. I'll be waiting." Dave?
Wild.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can't say I've ever done that on social media.
What, put someone to sleep?
No.
Hey, I'm sure you have. No, I'm joking. Great content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel. Fizzer, 18. That's, of course, Phil Neville. Shut up, Philip. You are boring the life out of me on this. Inter Miami manager now, Nieve. So, I mean, Wayne's at Derby, but, I mean, the perfect life is in Miami, isn't it?
Well, I mean, some would say that. Some would say the perfect life's in Bolton.
Yeah.
But it's just all about opinion. All I want to just say is don't mess with Wayne Rooney.
Dave, obviously, on a serious note.
Yep.
Wayne Rooney. Is he your favourite ever Manchester United player?
No.
Okay. Why not?
I think the little bit of love was lost when there was rumours of him joining Manchester City.
But he didn't join them.
He didn't know, but the rumours, it hurt me inside internally.
When was this?
I'd say it's more his agent, Paul Stretford, was the
Was it true
instigator.
that he put a transfer request in at United?
You see, reports hurt.
Right.
So that was a little bit of where I was like, Wayne, look, sort yourself out. But
He did.
16 trophies at Manchester United, the only English player alongside teammate Michael Carrick to win the Premier League, FA Cup, UEFA Champions League, League Cup, UEFA Europa League, and FIFA Club World Cup. That's pretty impressive.
Everyone's first memory of Wayne Rooney. It was obviously that Everton goal, I imagine. But not long after that, a young Will Brazier went to Kidderminster Harriers in Agbra to see him play, I think, for the under-18s, which his side, I think, included... No, it's gone.
What you're essentially trying to say is Will Brazier discovered Wayne Rooney.
In a word, Nieve, yes, I am. And it was on that bobbly pitch at Agbra where he sort of came into his own, and I think Manchester United thought, that's the future of our club.
So apparently they were watching him for a long time.
Yeah.
They were watching him since he was 13. There's a lot of talk about Wayne Rooney, as a youth player. Like, Jude Bellingham is a good example of a player recently where there's a lot of talk about him. Will he reach the heights of Wayne Rooney? Maybe. He's a very, very good player. But Rooney, in terms of that, there was a lot of hype about him. You can see why his explosivity, his aggression, his nature as a striker.
Yeah.
And his technical ability from a young age. And the shot power was a big thing that spoke about why he had such talent. And we saw that with the goal against Arsenal. Sensational goal.
And what makes that class as well is that's David Seaman. That's David friggin' Seaman.
mugged off by an 18-year-old.
Ponytail and all.
17-year-old?
17.
17-year-old.
But he's got all that aggression, that grit of like what we'd say is probably a classic English player, especially from that time. But then the skill, the finesse of someone from on the continent, Nieve, as well.
Yeah, and I think the fact that you can I think if you want to judge a player's flair, can you put classical music over a compilation of them? You could put classical music over a compilation of Wayne Rooney and it would fit, and that's all you need to know.
Tackles and all as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Real strong violins on some of the challenges.
Yeah.
Some of the moments, yeah, I think so.
Well, I remember early on when he was even at Everton and he was getting a few. I think he got sent off at St Andrews. Don't quote me on that.
What a great man.
But that's the sort of intimidating atmosphere of the bowl that St Andrews produces. But when do you? That Euros is obviously the pinnacle of his early career, and I was just watching, sat at home, just thinking, this is the future. We've got the midfield sorted. Now we've got Rooney. How many are we going to win? Euros, World Cups. Let's make the trophy cabinet now.
I feel sorry for Rooney in international level, me. I think he came in just at the wrong time for England. And it's when you've got approaching the end of world-class players and the other players being too young and not that good enough. And for me, if everyone else had been at their peak, maybe we could have won something. But I feel like Rooney deserves so much credit for international level. I just don't really understand why he didn't keep going to get the most caps. Because hasn't he got 120 caps? Peter Shilton's 125. Why did he not just say, stick me on for 5 minutes for the next 6 games?
I reckon, and I've only seen Peter Shilton on Twitter, but I reckon Peter Shilton might have said something that made Wayne to think.
And we know Peter Shilton holds a grudge.
Yeah, I think Peter Shilton's maybe sent in the boys and said, Wayne, you really want those extra caps? And he's gone, okay, Pete, that's fine.
That's all right, Pete. I'm not going to do anything dodgy. But I think the thing with Wayne at international level, imagine a midfield of Carrick, Scholes and Lampard behind him would have worked perfectly.
What about Gerrard?
We put him on the bench.
Look at this guy here, just casually trying to...
We play him right back either or. He's the guy that we move out to another position.
Right.
I think that team works and that team wins international tournaments, and I think that is a slight failure by the England national team. I agree with that.
But do you not remember we always think of the disappointment, but for that brief moment against Croatia when I think he scored a hat-trick that day, I actually thought the world was at not just his feet, but our feet. We could have been Spain, for God's sake. We ended up like pissing Romania.
All about the coaching.
No, it is true. But then obviously that spawned the move to Manchester United, which I was looking at an interview and he said probably added a bit more onto the price tag, having a successful campaign.
Yeah, but I think you had to get him. I think he's a classic Manchester United signing, top English talent. That's what United should be going for. They should be building their team around that, and that hasn't happened enough recently. I think that's been a problem. But Wayne Rooney, debut, hat-trick in the Champions League, hat-trick for Manchester United. Talk about, putting yourself, straight away, first team level, I can do it. And that's Wayne Rooney. Like, there's no... When you think about Wayne Rooney's age, he joined Manchester United, he's very young. He was about 23 when he joined, mentally. 24. Like, he was ready for that move and still such a young player. And I think that's something that is interesting. He matured super early. You can see that in his play and his, work rate, his tireless energy, that he plays well above his years. And he has a great brain, a great footballing brain. And why he was coined the White Pele, like you mentioned before, is he had the ability to back all that stuff up.
Who's coined him that?
The Manchester United faithful will. Who else would have?
All of them collectively.
All of them collectively.
And how's that done?
The other day.
What is that I saw my mate the other day? He said that he saw the White Pele. So I asked,
go on.
Who is he?
Let's go.
He comes by the name of Wayne Rooney.
Look at our breath doing that. The next part of the show, we're going to reveal our sort of favourite stats, quotes and goals of the player. Dave, you've made us sit down and watch Wayne Rooney's greatest fouls.
Yeah, it's strange I picked fouls over goals and trophies and all that type of thing, but I did it.
Yeah.
Pretty aggressive little fella, isn't he?
It's the good, the bad,
There's
and
a
the
fighter
ugly.
in him, a boxer in him.
Yeah. Nieve, I don't know where I stand on it. Like I sort of want it in my player, but then...
Well, the guy loves yellow more than the Simpsons.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah. It's just where you draw the line, isn't it? I think you need... I do miss that from football nowadays. You don't get it as much, and when it's not there, you miss it, because having a player like Wayne Rooney, especially in the big games, as you say, on Champions League nights, and the Manchester derby, the amount of times he stepped up in those games, And you definitely need that. It's just about keeping a head on it when it's too much.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Because you got a second booking for clapping at the referee. Do you not remember that one?
Yeah, that was great.
That's when you're letting it go to your head, and
It's
it's
too
no
far, isn't
longer a good part of your game anymore when you let it get to that level. But before that, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, he did always go over that peak, didn't he? Like when we drew 0-0 to Algeria, and he said, "Nice to see your home fans booing you, or your own fans."
But then
booing
that sums up England from a Manchester United perspective. That type of thing, like you're booing one of your own players.
Yeah,
What
'cause
is
he played
legitimately wrong with you? He is one of your best players.
Yeah.
The whole rubbish that came after the Cristiano Ronaldo wink incident with England fans and with the media was just like an absolute witch hunt that happened to the likes of David Beckham
Yeah,
previously. That is the media turning on people, and it's a disgusting side of the media.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's when you need almost like a better team around you to just go, I know you're a hothead, but just walk off the pitch.
But you're taking a part out of his game. You want the truth.
That's not. Yeah, but the whistle had gone. That's why the camera was on the pitch.
Can I just say, if Aguero had done these things, would you be sat here saying, can you take these things out of the game? Or would that be... Oh, I'm going to write that down as another negative of
Which team did Aguero play for in Manchester?
City.
Thank you. That's all I can. That's all I need. All the information I need. No, I think in terms of the style, explosive is a big thing, and I think we saw towards the back end, especially under like Louis van Gaal, that edge went, and that was a lot of Wayne Rooney's game, was that edge, that spark, that creativity. We're going to probably talk about iconic moments later on, but the goal against Newcastle, screaming at a referee and then volleying it in from 30 yards, that's Wayne Rooney. And I think you need that. Like, I think what Manchester United have lacked is someone like Wayne Rooney. They've lacked somebody. Bruno Fernandes has come in and he's been that figure. Eric Cantona, Rooney, Fernandes, similar ilk. Players that care, players that drag their teammates up and put the level of their teammates up. I think that's a big thing. We forget that if someone absolutely rollicks you on the pitch, some players crumble. The top players will step up and prove you wrong. And I think that's something that Wayne was captain of Manchester United. I think that's a big thing that's missing in the dressing room right now.
Speaking of rollickings, he actually gave a rollicking to one of his best mates one time. An incident that happened in his kitchen, I believe, on a hard-tiled surface, which could have spelled disaster.
An alleged incident.
Well, you've seen the video. I mean, there's some stuff that we spoke about today, which is on the alleged side. This one, he twats Phil Bardsley in the face. Phil twatted him, didn't he?
The fact that Dave can sit here and condone this behaviour, to me, I just feel like we've got to invalidate everything he says in this entire podcast, because it's just the brown nosing is just I'm starting to feel a bit of disgust, like sick in my mouth at this, to be honest.
Yeah, well Dave actually said, Nieve, off air, that's why he got the armband, which I think
I did not say such a thing.
I think
now, do you want my lawyers to come and speak to you?
So he's been punched, he's been knocked out, he's fallen down, but this is where I don't think we saw this. I don't think we saw this side of him too much, because he embraced the punch, and then he went to score at the weekend. Ran into, what corner is that at Old Trafford?
I think it was away from the Stretford. I think it was the opposite east stand.
And he went over there and he embraced it, and he got knocked out again by himself.
Yeah, pretty decent.
Do you rate that, Dave?
Yeah, it was a good goal. A needed goal.
Did you like the celebration?
Yeah, great celebration.
Nieve, I feel like this is something that we're going to have to talk about, because Dave's sort of shying away from it.
Yeah, I just think that you've got to be honest about these things, haven't you? I just want to make a good point against Wayne Rooney, actually, and in celebration of him, Dave will like this, is I want to say that when we talk about, he is right when he says, like, taking away that side of him is sort of removing his identity, because when you think about Wayne Rooney, you think about all of the stuff he does, which is driven by passion. Like, even when he went over to America and he did that, remember that tackle he did where he ran the whole
last minute of the game.
slid, and then
So true.
that is just like, and all the times you see footage of him like United on the counter attack, and he's like the last player, all of a sudden he's the closest player to the opposition box, because he's just literally sprinting. He's so passionate, and that is so underrated in football. You just don't see it anymore. You don't see it with some of the players we've talked about, like Neymar and these players, and the sheer hard work that Rooney put into his career is just really underrated, in my opinion.
I think it's an interesting one. Do you think it comes from his upbringing, and it's a street footballer, and that's the difference from what we have now? We have a lot of footballers that do go through academies early, they go to private schools early, do we lose that edge?
Well, speaking of street football, one thing I'd like to see back in football is Wayne Rooney street striker.
Yes.
Because Jesus Christ, if there's
What
any
a
commissioning
scene.
editors listening to this podcast, get him on the phone. Who would we say is the sort of modern day Wayne Rooney that we'd see? Shay Adams street striker doesn't have the sort of.
No, it's not the ring to it, does it?
Oh, you make.
Harry Kane street striker, boring.
No, it's
thank
got to be
you.
like younger, cooler.
Yeah.
I'm sounding like a commissioning editor now.
You are.
As soon as you say cool,
You're sounding like a 30-year-old, Will.
Guys, we need
Calvert-Lewin? No.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa! Stop what you're doing. If you want to listen to the full episode, click the link in the description and that will take you to your favourite podcast app where you can listen to the full thing and hear us rate our favourite players.